How old is the Earth? Evolutionists claim it's 4.6 billion years old.
Technically, geologists make this claim. You know, those pesky people within the relevant field that have massive amounts of data to support their conclusion, not to mention that their conclusion was derived from the data, not the other way around.
But what does the evidence say? Let's take a look.
Yes, let's look at the evidence you cherry-picked. Evidence that, when fully explained, is evidence for an old Earth or irrelevant with regards to the question at hand.
There are so many evidences of a young Earth.
And here they are without any kind of proper explanation from Hovind, so I'll have to explain it.
The Methuselah tree.
It's one of the longest living organisms on our planet. It also goes by the name bristlecone pine. Whilst it is one of the oldest organisms, its age does not indicate dates of events happening before it. It only demonstrates that no global cataclysms occurred less than 4,900 years ago. Tree rings give an unbroken record back more than 11,000 years. A worldwide cataclysm during that time would have broken the tree ring record. But for a fun fact, the king clone creosote bush in the Mojave Desert is 11,700 years old. This neat little fact falsifies his claim that
it all started 4,400 years ago, right when the Bible says the flood occurred. The Great Barrier Reef.
Fact: coral grows very slowly. If we use Hovind's figure of 4,200 years for the age of that coral, then the reef had to grow 12.9 inches per year. Now, in reality, if we generously use the higher rate of individual coral growth under optimum conditions, we wind up with 54,000 years for that reef to form. It goes without saying that Eric's claims are pretty much falsified.
Erosion rates. Continents are eroding at a rate that would level them in just 25 million years.
Continents would have eroded away in 25 million years? Oh no, he's got me there. Oh wait, that's complete and utter bullshit. The only way for this argument to make any sense is if we ignore all of modern geology, which is exactly what Eric has done. It tends to happen when you start with your conclusion. He overlooks the fact that continents are dynamic and have grown appreciably over time, both by accretion of material at the margins and by addition of material from the mantle below. Volcanic activity, the emplacement of gigantic masses of rising molten rock, and the stupendous compressional forces of the Earth's colliding plates have been building mountains off and on for billions of years. Mountain building is going on even now in many parts of the world.
We've got comets in our solar system, but they only last 100,000 years. Why do we still have comets?
Here's why. The comets that entered the inner solar system a very long time ago indeed have evaporated. However, new comets enter the inner solar system from time to time. The Oort cloud and the Kuiper belt hold many comets deep in space, beyond the orbit of Neptune, where they do not evaporate. Occasionally, gravitational perturbations from other comets bump one of them into a highly elliptical orbit, which causes it to go near the sun and begin evaporating.
Sahara Desert is growing.
One particular question comes up with regard to this one. So what?
Oil is still under pressure.
The incredible pressure found in oil and gas wells indicates that the oil and gas have been effectively trapped. The initial slow accumulation of oil and gas from the source area would hardly have had a chance to build up great pressure if the trapping rock were leaking like a sieve. Oil and gas do a lot of migrating, and the oil accumulated in a given reservoir may have recently migrated there from another reservoir. Thus, a given pool of oil may or may not have been there for millions and millions of years. A recent geological shift in the rocks might also increase the leakage of the primary oil pool, which had been hitherto sealed for millions of years. Thus, the mere existence of leaky trapping rocks does not prove that a pool of oil and gas was recently created.
Earth's magnetic field is actually getting weaker, putting a maximum age of 25,000 years on it.
The Earth's magnetic field is known to have varied in intensity and reversed in polarity numerous times in the Earth's history. This is entirely consistent with the conventional models and geophysical evidence of the Earth's interior. Measurements of magnetic field direction, and intensity show little or no change between 1590 and 1840. The variation in the magnetic field is relatively recent, probably indicating that the field's polarity is reversing yet again. The graph pictured here shows the past 160 million years of polarity reversals. For a better look at the graph, visit tinyurl.com/maghistory.
Earth's rotation is slowing down.
The Earth's rotation is slowing at a rate of about 0.005 seconds per year. This extrapolates to the Earth having a 14-hour day 4.6 billion years ago, which is entirely possible. Fossil rugose corals preserve daily and yearly growth patterns and show that the day was about 22 hours long 370 million years ago, in rough agreement with the 22.7 hours predicted from a constant rate of slowing.
The moon is receding.
The moon is receding at about 3.8 centimeters per year. Since the moon is 3.85 times 10 to the power of 10 centimeters from the Earth, this is already consistent within an order of magnitude with an Earth-Moon system billions of years old.
The human population is at 6.5 billion. Trace that backwards, it all started 4,400 years ago, right when the Bible says the flood occurred.
This claim assumes that the population growth rate was always constant, which is a false assumption. Wars and plagues would have caused populations to drop from time to time. In particular, population sizes before agriculture would have been severely limited and would have had an average population growth of 0 for any number of years. Furthermore, there is no particular reason to choose a population growth rate of 0.5% for the calculation. For example, the population growth from 1000 to 1800 has been closer to 0.1227% per year. At that rate, the population would have grown to its present size from the 8 flood survivors in 16,660 years. The population growth rate proposed by the claim would imply unreasonable populations early in history.
Why?
Start with 8 people in 2350 BCE, then assuming a growth rate of 0.5% per year, the population after n years is given by the equation above. If we assume the pyramids were built 100 years after the flood, then the world population for their construction was 13 people. In 1446 BCE, when Moses was said to be leading 600,000 people on the Exodus, this model of population growth gives 726 people in the world. If that's not bad enough, in 481 BCE, Xerxes gathered an army of 2,641,000, when the world population, according to the model, was only 89,425 people. Even allowing for exaggerated numbers, the population model just simply makes no sense. Like this. Or like this. Or even like this.
Why? Because the Earth is young, not old.
I think this best sums up this video response. To learn more about bastardizing science, visit us at creationminute.com.